And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon. Today I'm talking with John Hernandez. And John, thank you, sir, for spending some time with me today.
Absolutely. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Well, you are welcome. So John is he's a coach. He's got the Alchemy Coaching Institute. He helps businesses and people achieve the life that you want through a very unique process. I really like what he's doing here. So we're going to dive into that here in just a minute. Once we figured out, John, how in the world did you get doing what you're doing today?
Two worlds colliding. I've been working in the universe of studying ancient history, ancient cultures, and the actual science and art of alchemy popped up since I was a little kid. I developed that world, worked in that world. You know, what the heck is it? I'll explain it later. In the meantime, I've been an entrepreneur and started several companies, and the two began to merge. I began to use the tool sets that I learned in alchemy to overcome some challenges in the business world and in my personal life as well. And I found them to be unique, as you said, and very helpful in moving me in more of a permanent movement forward rather than just a temporary Band-Aid fix. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how it is.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, we'll come back to the whole permanent versus Band-Aid thing, but let's begin. Let's jump off here because I know my audience is scratching their head and I am too. But all right, help me understand what in the world is alchemy?
Yes, alchemy. Alchemy is a very old science. It's been around for millennia, and it's basically, in a nutshell, most people know it as turning lead into gold. Well, that's a great analogy and a great metaphor, but it's a lot more than that. But really what it means is permanently moving something from one state to a new state. And what I mean by that is permanent. Whereas we hear a lot of things around transformation. Transformation, you still have an opportunity to move backwards a few steps and to go back. In alchemy, we call it transmutation, which is a permanent form of transformation. So once you employ these tool sets that I'm going to give and use them, there's no going back. And it's also called the great work because why? You have to continue to do the work. If you don't do the work, I guarantee you it won't work. Pun intended.
There you go.
Yes.
I'm glad you said that because so many people, John, are looking for a purple pill. They want a quick fix, and that's really not what you're about from what I'm gathering, right?
Yes, and I've been to a million seminars, and a lot of them have been really good, and I'm pumped up for 3 or 4 days afterwards, and then it dissolves. And so with this work, it's ongoing because we know from the work in the past and all those that have come before me that it's literally called the magnum opus or the great work because it's a continuation of something you do all your life. And boy, does that sound hard or a lot of work or not fun? It can be a lot of fun because why? You keep looking in the mirror, you keep improving, you keep moving forward. And so that's the exciting part of the work.
It's a lot to me, and this may be a bad analogy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of like those guys who are they tell me they're addicted to exercise or working out, but they're in the gym 3 days a week for like life, or the guys who ride the bike 40 miles a week, or they run. It's part of their lifestyle, and if you would say I'm gonna take that part out of your life, they're gonna say no way, because it impacts every other area of my life. Is that kind of what you're thinking of?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you brought up a good point. So alchemy does work on the physical piece, which can be exercise. It can be all kinds of things that do with our physical. It can be things like financial health and all that. It also works on the psycho-emotional side, which is really key because that's how we place ourselves in the world through our own lenses of how we see things. And then it works on the spiritual thing, and that can mean anything to anybody. That's basically being open to possibilities. That's the way I like to look at it. So it works on all three of these things at the same time. And I've found for me personally that trying to do any one of those without the other two has not been effective for me. So
yeah, it really needs to be a, dare I say, a holistic perspective of how you go into doing things like this.
yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the the tool set, or how do you work with somebody? No, before we go there,
Mhm.
what is somebody struggling with before they would come and work with you? What are some of those signs of, oh, things just aren't working, or I'm tired of doing this, or some that would cause them to say, I probably need to reach out and learn more about John and what he's doing.
Yeah, what I like to how I like to position the work that I do is, first of all, there's a lot of great coaches out there. There's a ton of them, and each one of them specialize in their own secret sauce, let's just say. Um, they have their systems and things they work with, and I've worked with several, and I'm working with one now, and they're all really, really good at their craft. There's a space between you, the person, the actual authentic person, and where those other modalities begin. I'm kind of in that zone right there. So I like to work perhaps with other coaches
Mm.
to get you to this point so that you can execute on their modalities. Because why? Unless we work on ourselves in a deep way first, I found again that I find resistance, procrastination, blocks, all kinds of stuff that happens before I can even get to where this coach is giving me their gold.
Right.
So that's kind of where I see what I do, and that's where the unique perspective of alchemy really, really can move you forward.
Yeah. That's really cool. It goes back, it's funny. You just said they, before they give you their gold, I was thinking alchemy, turning lead into gold and all that. But it's, I think what I'm discerning here is you take people's lead, right? Their latent desires that are in them. They want more from life. They just don't know how to get there. You give them the tools to transmutate those desires into what they really want, because of the tools, the systems, the strategies you're teaching them that become a permanent part of who they are now.
Yeah,
It's kind of, right.
that's exactly correct. It
Okay.
becomes, interestingly enough, it becomes a permanent part of who they are because they already have everything they need.
Well, it's, yeah, and again, bad analogy,
That's
probably
the
maybe
trick.
makes
But
more,
no, yeah.
is the caterpillar to the butterfly.
Yes,
Everybody's
correct.
always told me that the caterpillar is a butterfly. He just doesn't
That's
know
right.
it. And he has to go through that process. Once he's a butterfly, he doesn't go back to being a caterpillar.
That's that's 100% correct. In fact, funny enough, I use that analogy. So
Oh,
well
do
done.
you really?
Yeah. Because
Bonus
that's a
points
great
for life.
analogy. That's the difference between transmutation and transformation. Once you
Okay.
become the butterfly, you don't go back to being caterpillar. You,
Right.
you're in a new state, and
Yeah.
that's literally what alchemy is.
Yeah. That's very cool. It's a new state, but boy, think about the life that you now have. You can get off the ground. You can see things from a different. There's all kinds of stuff
Oh,
going
there's
on.
all kinds of great analogies. Yeah,
Yeah. So
exactly.
how do you work with people? Is it a 13-week program, a 2-year program? Is it different for each person? Is it online video training? Is it you? I mean, what does this even look like?
What does it look like? Yes. So time is a mystery, I found. There's no right or wrong time to start the work. Um, whether you're 23 or 63, it really doesn't matter because it's when you're called to do the work, I found is the time that you're ready. As
Mm.
far as the length of time, it could be 2 sessions, it could be 12 sessions. Some students keep going because they want to get a new piece each time. So it really depends on the individual and what they're looking for. Others will do 3 or 4 sessions, stop, and then a year and a half later say, I'd like a tune-up, or you know what, I've rediscovered this again. Let's go back at it and go to the next level. So it really is up to the individual as to what they want and what
Mm.
they feel. Once they, if they say, hey, I've got what I need, then you're complete. Have at it. And I'm
Yeah,
always here as a support if you need me. So that's the way I go at it.
that's very
I'd like
cool.
to say it's a 13-week course, but it really varies. It's
Yeah.
very personal.
Well, and I really actually appreciate that, because so many times I'm not geared to a 13-week course, right? And I
Right.
don't want off the shelf solution. I've got certain issues. I've got certain lead in my life that
Right.
needs to be turned into gold. But so it might be something that you say one thing and I go, that's it.
Yeah.
And then we dive and then we're done. All right. And I really like that, because too many times we're being sold a solution that may or may not fit. It sounds like what you do is you work with each individual person and say, let's just work, let's figure out where you are, and
Yeah.
you bring out different tools, I presume, for each person to get
Right.
them where
It's very personal, and it is individual, and it is, like I said, as you go. And
Mhm.
another reason why I do that is because I don't, and I might get in trouble with other coaches, what I'm about to say, but me personally, I don't like to have what I call the money shadow hanging over the work. Meaning I paid for 22 weeks in advance, gosh darn it, I'm going to use it. And then all of a sudden resentment kicks in, whatever. So I say, you're called, you'll know if you want to continue to work. And we do it as long as it is working, because otherwise then it just turns into something that's not organic or authentic in that way.
Yeah.
So, so I hope, no offense to anybody that's doing those. That's great. We all work in our own way. So
That's right. That's right. Well, it's fascinating what you're doing, and I know you and I could talk for hours about all this, because I've got lots of questions and thoughts, and probably some more analogies too. But tell me,
yeah, that's great.
somebody's out there and they know they've got more in them. They're not living the life that they really desire, really want. Maybe they've tried a few other things, and that's okay. What how do people find you to get more information about this, and do they schedule a call? I mean, what's that whole process look like?
Yeah. So I do no charge exploratory calls, just, and I'll give whoever's, engaging me, basically the whole roadmap of what we do. And if it works for them, great. If it doesn't, great. It is very individual. And before I give you the where I go, I do want to say one other thing about alchemy, because alchemy gets thrown around a lot in the world today. People use it for, they like the word, they have the metaphor of lead to gold, and they put the alchemy stamp on a lot of different things. What I'm talking is the real deal alchemy that's been studied since pharaonic Egyptian times, all the way through the Middle Ages and Renaissance and now. I'm talking about the actual art and science of alchemy, not taking the name and sticking it on some, marketing piece. So you're going to be diving deep into these modalities that have been proven over time in millennia that work. So I just want to say that. How to find me and engage me? My website, which you'll hopefully put on there, because it's a mouthful. It's alchemycoachinginstitute.com. And you can get a hold of me that way. My email is on there, and we can have a casual chat. I say it's 15 minutes, but it's not like, hey, we're into it 15 minutes and I'm going to cut you off. Oh, your free thing is done. No, we'll go as long as you need questions answered, and as long as you feel that you're comfortably answered with anything that you might have for me. So
That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to capture that, put that in the show notes with your LinkedIn profile and different things, so people can get a hold of you as well. I had this wacky idea, John. I'm just going to throw it out there. Right? I'm the king of like wacky ideas, right? So
good.
your first conversation shouldn't be like a discovery call. It should be the caterpillar conversation.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I just love how you just want to talk to people and see if it's the right thing for them. So if you're out there struggling, if you've got more juice in you but it's not coming out, if you want a greater, better life, if you just need something but you're not really sure what that is, just reach out to John. Go check him out, alchemycoachinginstitute.com. Reach out to him on LinkedIn, email him, have a conversation, see what he's all about, and see if he can help you transmute into the bigger, better self that's inside of you waiting to come out. I think it's very cool, John. I like how you framed all of this. So thanks
Great.
for what you're doing. Thanks for being my guest today on Expert Speak.
Thank you. And when you go on the website, there's a lot of blogs you can read, and that gives you a real good understanding of some of the directions. So there's great resources there as well. So thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate the time.
John, you're welcome. Thanks for listening today. Tune in again next week for another great episode of Expert Speak. Take care. God bless.
Be well.